Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets Show. I'm your host, Muhammad Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Tyzer Evans. Tyzer is the host of Grind, Sell, Elevate podcast, and he has a tons of experience of selling. Nothing happens until you sell something. Relax, we are not selling you anything today. However, you need to know how to put the bread on a table. And nothing will happen. Your company will not grow until you make a sale. And here's the best part. Either you are in marketing and a sales, there is something is they blame each other always in virtually all companies. Marketing says salespeople are not good enough, they're not converting enough, we generated so many leads. It happens to me many times. I am a marketer. However, the salespeople say on the other side, all those leads are bad leads. So how do you actually fix all that? One of the people like my guest you need to listen to who actually can fix both sides, marketing perceptions, sales, and tips and tricks and strategies how to convert it better. Of course, you can't watch all this in 15 minutes. However, that will be a great starting point for you to learn from the best of the best, Tyzer Evans. Tyzer, please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Tyzer. Tyzer, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
My intro was off or relevant to you?
No, it's very relevant. I said I've worked with a lot of companies. I've worked for some of the biggest companies in the United States, and it's always sales and marketing, right? The chicken and the egg type conversation.
So before we actually get started, let's know your story. So where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to get into sales, or even starting your own podcast, Grind, Sell, Elevate?
Yeah. So the quick 30-second version of me is I grew up in Northern California, in the Sonoma County in the wine country. Went to school down in San Diego, and I got involved in the surf industry and kind of doing retail sales, selling surfboards and board shorts and stuff like that. And I has had a knack for talking with people. I've never been someone who has the stranger danger type of mentality. And so when I graduated college, I spent all this money on a degree. I didn't know what I wanted to do still. And I was like, oh, sales seems like it's something where I could make money and have an impact on people. So like any good salesperson, I just kind of fell into it.
Mm-hmm. So I noticed you have something called 10x here. So what that mean? Is it 10x mean if somebody become your client, they make their 10x or what?
Yeah. So the 10x is from Grant Cardone, who's been a mentor to me. I really bought into the way of 10x lifestyle. I feel like a lot of people, for whatever reasons, variety of reasons, think small, act small, and stay small. And so the 10x mentality is just anything that you want to do in your life, you 10x it, whether that's time with your family, whether that's travel, whether that's work, your finances, whatever it is. And so that's kind of the mentality that I have going through life.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. That's great. So, hey, Tyzer, are you ready for the tough questions on sales? From your experience, we are not going to pay you anything on this episode, and plus we are going to take away all of your best of the best knowledge.
Yeah, no problem. I don't mind working for free. Let's go.
Okay. Wonderful. So, Tyzer, based on your experience of sales and coaching other salespeople to improve their sales, what are the top 3 missteps to avoid when it comes to sales?
The missteps? Yeah. So the missteps is being an order taker. A lot of salespeople, what they tend to do is they sit back and they wait for a sale to come to them, right? So that's the first thing, is that a lot of salespeople wait for the phone to ring as opposed to making the phone ring. The second thing is salespeople is they don't follow up. Statistically, it's something like 80% of salespeople don't make more than 3 follow-up calls. But if you look at the statistics, it shows that in order to hit your prospect one time, you need to make 5 to 12 prospecting calls to reach them one time. It'll take an additional 5 to 8 calls to close a deal. So we're looking at potentially 20 follow-up calls in order to close a sale. So if you think about that and what your competition's doing, they're making an average of 3 follow-up calls. And the third thing that salespeople don't do well is they don't work up here. They don't work on their mindset and how to deal with the amount of rejection you're going to face. The industry I work in, the closing ratio is about 6%. So 94% of the time we are failing, right? So it's you got to have some thick skin. You got to have a tough mindset to be able to take the rejection.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm going to ask a follow-up question if you allow me. How you deal with the 94% stay positive and 94% failure, like virtually every day and every hour,
Right. Great. It's a great question. I focus on the 6%, right? And I focus on, okay, so what is it going to take me in order to close that 6%? So I focus on the metrics. So when I look at what is my income goals, how many sales is it going to take me to get to my income goals? So how many, what we call an RFP, request for proposal is going to take me to get to the sales? How many calls does it take me to get that request for a proposal? And so I focus on the metrics that keep me very aligned on my targets every single day. So I hone in on that as opposed to focusing on the 94 calls that didn't go well. I focus on the 6 that did go well, and I stay really focused on my targets that align me with closing that 6%. And then I'm constantly focused on how can I get to 7? How can I get to 8? Right. So then it's just pulling the lever of the metrics once you understand them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wonderful. So when someone turn you off in a while, in 94%, there are certain type of people go away. Oh, you got my number, blah blah, whatever, like a very negative stuff. Is that really you're a very thick skin? Or just you don't even feel it, or like you take it personally? Or next call will be low emotions? Does that affect you?
Yeah. So, when I was younger, sure, I would take it personally. And that was something I just had to get over. I read a great book called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And that book really helped me to realize, it's the second agreement. Don't take things personal. You don't not understand when you're calling into somebody what they've been through in their day, right? They could have just gotten into a fight with their wife. They could have gotten into a car accident. They could have just got yelled at by their boss. So I just realized that whatever that person is expressing, their frustration, their anger that I interrupted their day, I don't take it personal. I move on. And I have a true sense of my why. Understanding my purpose and what I'm there to accomplish helps me to be able to deal with the rejection. My purpose is my children and my wife. So the more that I stay aligned with my purpose and my why, it gives me the confidence and the momentum to keep moving forward.
Wonderful. So, Tyzer, what are your top 3 success secrets? Don't be stingy. Give your best ones. Okay.
Yeah. So, the big thing with sales is people talk, where reps go wrong is they want to talk to you about the benefits. I want to talk, I would call you, hey, I want to talk about the benefits and the features. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your benefits. Nobody cares about your features. What they care about is the insight that you can provide them that shows value. And value now is kind of become a kind of over-glorified term. What I look for is how can I show your business where your blind spots are, so you have those aha moments. Once you get somebody that you're targeting to have an aha moment, I've never thought about that before. No one's ever told me that before. Then you really start to gain trust and credibility, right? So that's the first thing I try to attack. I kind of already mentioned it. The second thing is being tenacious with my follow-ups. Yeah. If I'm not able to engage somebody in the first or second call, I start to get creative with different ways of being able to have touches. Maybe I hit them on Twitter. Maybe I find them on Facebook. Maybe I hit them on LinkedIn, right? And every time I'm touching them, I'm not asking them to listen to me about my product, good, or service. I'm providing them value, providing them resources on how to make them better, their business better. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing is for me as a sales leader is cultivating a great environment and a great culture where people want to come work with me and want to work for me every single day. A lot of times people want to manage through fear. And when you're constantly hanging a job over somebody's head, if they don't hit a quota, don't hit a number, it's not very inspiring and motivating, is it? Right. So we want to cultivate a culture where people want to show up and they feel like that you have their back and you have a vested interest in helping them succeed.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned about a quota. That brings me to like a follow-up question. So let's say somebody has to make 100 sales. It made only 30 this month or 40. And how do you communicate that to, I'm putting you in a hard seat right now. You are a coach. So how do you communicate that bad news, because they're not performing to their best potential or quota?
Well, we want to get to the root of why they're not performing,
Mhm.
right? What was their hangups? Was it a bad month? Typically, what I when someone does not hit their quota, what I do is I have them go back and look at what their actions were 90 days ago. What you did 30, 60, 90 days ago is what is going to be relevant to your pipeline now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of going, hey, maybe, what's it, January. So maybe October, you took your eye off the ball and you didn't hit your call volume. So that's going to affect your pipeline. So the first thing is always assessing the pipeline. Maybe people, what they tend to do is they get someone who is interested and they stick with that person for too long, as opposed to, hey, I need to get some fresh blood in my pipeline. I need to fire some of my clients. I need to let some people go. I'm going to follow up with them in 6 months. A no now doesn't mean a no forever, but maybe now's not the right time, right? So we start to analyze their metrics, kind of what they were doing. And then also, again, it comes back to understanding their goals and their priorities and their motivations. Maybe they do have something going on at home. And I have to be cognizant. Maybe they're having issues with their wife, or maybe that their child's having issues in school. So I just try to dig on kind of those key areas.
Yeah, kind of wonderful. You are a good coach, I can tell. So.
Yeah, thank you. I try to be.
No, because these are very tricky how you communicate. Basically, it's not like meaning you are bad. You are, that doesn't help. That it's not going to produce anything. So.
Correct. It's not going to. Yeah.
So, Tyzer, I'm sure in the sales, not everything went well the way you wanted every time. Is that right? So you had some significant failures in your life too. So I'm going to ask you this very bold question. What is the single most professional failure in the sales career you had? What did you learn from that, and how did you recover from that?
Yeah, well, I've had several. For me, I've been passed over on several different promotions in my life. And at the time, you go into something and you apply for something and you think you're the best candidate for the job. And I've had this happen to me 4 or 5 times. What a lot of people do is when they get passed over for something, and this has happened to me, is they go, well, why me? Why me? Why this happened to me? I was the right person for the job. I take a perspective of like, okay, what did I do wrong? I take ownership. It was my fault for not putting myself in the best position possible to secure the job. There's something that I didn't do to make them feel confident in my abilities to be able to lead at the next level. So just going back to the drawing board. One, it's important to receive criticism and get feedback. So I asked for that. What can I do better? How can I get 10% better? And I ask myself that question every day, right? How can I get 1% better today? And then I just go back and I look at my fallacies and I try to improve on them. I try to double down on my strengths, and I just keep moving forward.
That's a great way to analyze your failures. This is good. Very good. So the Growth Hacking Secrets community, people who are watching this right now, they're watching it live or they're watching it recorded later. Whenever they are watching, how they can support you?
Support me? If anybody want to go to my website and work with me one-on-one, or if you have a small business and you're looking at trying to help revamp your sales teams, put in processes, help you analyze metrics, or go check out my podcast where I've got great guests as well. And I give all kinds of sales tips and tricks and techniques to elevate your income and your revenue and your bottom line.
Wonderful. The website is on your screen right now. It's tyzerevans.com, TYZEREVANS.com. I spelled it out for you so that I have no mistakes of my accent. Okay.
No, you did great. Thank you.
So again, TYZEREVANS.com. Check that out. It's a great website. And I'm sure then you can follow through on everything. As Tyzer says, he will follow up with you. He is preaching to the choir, So I learned so much that there is 17. If someone does not really close on after the 17th follow-up, then you can leave that person alone for a year or so and maybe come back later, So
absolutely.
So you were talking about around 20, so we were at same range, So
yeah, right. Yeah, a couple more. And I'll tell you, real fast, I know we're getting at the end of our time, but one of the biggest clients I ever closed, I called him 17 times. That number sticks out in my mind before I ever was able to set a meeting with him. I set one meeting, went and I delivered on the meeting, and I end up writing over $1 million in production in the next 9 months with that guy.
Yeah. So yeah, follow up. Money is in the follow up. That's what everybody says. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Tyzer, we are about to wrap up. And I asked this question to my every guest as a kind of review for the show. So here is the question. What would you say to your best friend about a growth hacking secret show when I'm not there?
It's something that you need to have in your life to continue to elevate to the next level.
Cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words. And what would you say as a final word?
My final word is that whatever you're facing right now in your life, whatever fear you think that you have, know that your biggest fear is your greatest opportunity for growth. So lean in, don't hold back, take risk, be bold, because you'll regret it if you don't.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Tyzer Evans, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of a Growth Hacking Secret Show community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Muhammad Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.